Hello, my friends. Hey, how are you? Welcome. Okay, I am starting a couple of minutes early from our regularly scheduled programming of When You Lead Live because I'm gonna smudge this a little bit because I have decided to do a little Q&A from last week. So we've got a few minutes before When You Lead Live with Heidi Mitro starts. And last week, when we were talking, what I really found fascinating were the questions that I got in my DMs. And so last week, we had the opportunity to be talking about doubt and how doubt means to be of two minds. And so I had some questions. I had people emailing me, and I had a chance to talk with a couple of friends about doubt. And it's really interesting when you're no longer fearing things like doubt and anger, and our topic today is resentment, when you're no longer fearing those things and you look at them as messengers. So if you remember last week, we talked about the 4 steps that you can take when you're experiencing doubt. And the first one is to name it. And this is true for any emotion, any sensation that you're feeling where it's like, what is this? And what am I supposed to be doing with it? Name it. Really, truly give it language. We are a very unique species in the fact that we have language, and not just words, we have body language. And so when you name something, your body has a recognition. And that's really important. So when you name it, then you pause and you go, where am I feeling this? And then true permission to feel what you are feeling. And this is the point where usually people bounce, where it's like, I do not like this feeling at all. So I'm either going to get up and not deal with it. I'm going to drink. I'm going to watch Netflix. I'm going to call a friend. I'm going to eat. I'm going to do something where I'm not doing this. But if you can create a safe environment for your body to feel more fully, even just for a half a second longer, things will start to shift for you. And then listen to what this feeling is saying. So last week we talked about doubt. And one of the questions that I got was like, okay, I did all 4 steps and then I got an answer. And now what do I do with that answer? My answer is going to be like, well, now we need to coach together, right? But if you have been given instructions by doubt, if you have been given instructions by guilt, if you have been given instructions like the true distilled version, not the fly off the handle first draft version, but the distillation, where maybe doubt is telling you like you need to start looking for a new job. Maybe you need to put some boundaries in place with your partner. Maybe you're already dreading the holiday season for all of the shit that you don't want to be doing. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it. So what I said to her was that doubt is leading you home to yourself. And when you get instructions from whatever the perceived negative feeling is, just take the next micro action. You don't have to go quit your job, but maybe you dust off your resume. You don't have to go do the end result of whatever your emotion told you. Just do the next step, the next micro action, because just like money compounds interest, which is a magical force, taking micro action consistently is what changes your life. Sometimes you need to take that big, bold action. And more often than not, it's the combination and the accumulation of turning towards yourself that changes your life. Which leads me into, we are at the top of the hour. I love a good segue. So welcome to When You Lead Live. I'm your host, Heidi Mitro. Today we're talking about resentment. So we're going to do the same process that we talked about last week, where we're going to name it. What the hell is resentment anyways? We're going to pause. We're going to do a body sensation check. Like, where is this? What am I feeling? We're going to pause and we're going to feel it. And then we're going to listen. Same rules apply. Any negative perceived emotion is actually bringing you the message that you say you want. It's like, gosh, I just wish I knew what to do. And yet we're not listening to the very things like doubt and guilt and resentment that are going to help us to figure out what's next, because we have been trained that those things are bad and dirty and will never reveal the truth, when in fact, they are the bearer of everything that you want. You can trust your body. You can trust your senses. You can trust your intuition. So when I talk with high achievers about barriers to having what they want, when we talk about like, I just don't know what to do next, typically I want to know, like, well, what are you feeling? Right? Because those feelings are going to give you information. And today we're talking about resentment. So if you have ever said, if I don't do it, it won't get done, with this look, if I don't do it, it won't get done. This whole shaking of the head, because I don't know, that's just the motion that comes with resentment for me. Like the shoulder shrug. Anybody have that? Like, I don't know. I guess if I don't do it, it won't get done, which is real sexy and everybody likes to hang out with her. This is the physiology for me of resentment. And in the header of this video, I did say, you know, this is the silent assassin of your relationships. And that first relationship that gets the poison of this is you with you, by the way. And so when I'm working with high achievers, I am committed to you having the highest and greatest and deepest, most sensuous and lovely relationship with you. Because the more you are in harmony with yourself, the more you will be in harmony with those around you. Or the disharmony, right? That dissonance will be enough for you to finally break free of relationships that are not healthy for you. It will be enough for you to put boundaries in place and see what happens. And boundaries are one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself and other people. It lets you know what's acceptable and it lets them know what's acceptable. And that's a big deal. And when resentment is showing up, and y'all know I love words, that's part of the show, is to define these words. We throw words around real willy-nilly. And when we get to the place where it's like, no, I know what that word means. And now I know what that word means for me, in my body, in my daily life, that's when we can start to take meaningful action. Does that make sense? So if you're catching this live, will you write a comment? It helps my algorithm. I know we're not supposed to really care about algorithms, but at the same time, like, let's share this stuff, right? If you've got a friend who you're like, they need to know about resentment. I just had this conversation at book club. I just had this conversation in my coaching community. I just had this, you know, coffee chat with a friend of mine about how resentful they are about all the things. Tag them in this, invite them into this community. It really matters for us to be sharing. So if you're catching it live, let me know. Likewise, if you're catching this later today or tomorrow, put replay in there. I would love to know your comments. It's fun when we're interacting together. And any comment that you leave, I promise to go back and respond to. Okay. So show me some love. Are you here? Let's see. So let's talk about resentment. Let's talk about the definition of this word, because typically what's happening when resentment shows up is there's a disconnect. And that is, it's really important for us to name it and claim it and pause, feel, and listen, right? So by the end of this show, you will know why resentment is a key ingredient to the clarity in your relationships. You will understand why resentment is a gift. You will understand the clarity that comes from resentment. And so let's talk about the definition, okay? I have my notes here because I want to make sure I stay on track. I tend to go like on tangents, which I don't mind, but I want to make sure we get all of this. So when we're defining resentment, get ready to type it, get ready to write it down. You have your journals, you've got your pens and paper. This first word kills me. It's so funny. Indignant displeasure. Is there anything more like repugnant where you're like, your face should like scrunch when you say that? Indignant displeasure or persistent ill will. Holy shit. At something regarded as wrong, an insult, or injury. What? Oh man, that's the definition of it. The other, and the word indignant, I had to look that up too, because it's such a indignant. There's T's and consonants in the space that comes with it. Here's the definition of indignant: anger and annoyance at perceived unfair treatment. Anger or annoyance at perceived unfair treatment. That's the definition of indignant. So an angry and annoyed displeasure. Well, if that just doesn't clear it up for all of us. And typically when it comes to resentment, it's showing up when we're scorekeeping. Oh, Mike, if you're watching this. So this may or may not be a bone of contention inside of our family. And I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm a scorekeeper. And my classic phrase is, well, when it's 5 billion to 1, it's hard not to notice who's winning. Here's the deal. If you are winning by scorekeeping in your relationship, you're both losing. If you are winning by scorekeeping in your relationship, you're both losing. This is in your job. This is with your kids. This is with your partner. This is in your business. If you are winning at this, if you are winning at resentment, everyone is losing. And you know that I want you to win. You know, like my name is Heidi, that I want you to win. And I do. I want you to win. And when I say win, I want you to have a successful, thrilling, beautiful, sumptuous life with yourself and your people and your community. And I know that there's dissonance there. And I know that, you know, there are some categories of your life where we got a lot of work to do, but that's the definition of winning. Winning doesn't mean that you're standing with the broom and the permission slip pissed off in your kitchen and scorekeeping yet again, and you're winning the martyrdom competition because you're the only one playing, by the way. I'm just going to be real honest about it. When scorekeeping shows up in our relationship, when resentment shows up in my relationship with my partner, Mike, that's my boundary check. That's my cue that somewhere along the line, I have crossed my boundary. Mike does not have a malicious bone in his body. He does not have a calculated bone in his body where he's like, how could I take advantage of Heidi today? I know that to be true. And we've done enough therapy on our own and as a couple where I know that as a truth. That actually may not be the truth in your relationships, but wouldn't you rather know and address it than stand and win when you're both actually losing? So let's talk about the etymology of resentment. And this is interesting because there were a lot of obsolete definitions, which I thought was fascinating. And so it comes from the French resent. And the re means to go backwards, but the sent has everything to do with your senses. Interesting. So to feel pain or distress, that's the old French definition of resent. And when you are feeling resentful, you might be standing with this indignant displeasure, which is this puffed up posture, right? If you're going to name resentment, there's usually a pissed off factor that shows up that is really causing you to have this feeling, right, of pain or distress, like this distress, right? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what your resentment is actually revealing to you. So the same thing, let's name it. God, I'm resentful. Man, I'm pissed off. I'm winning. If I don't do it, it won't get done because it's 5 billion to 1. I just had a conversation with a friend. I hope you're watching how she just refilled the soap dispenser in her house. That was one, right? I had that. Do you think the Q-tips magically appear? Do you think that the laundry sheets magically get ordered? Which, by the way, if you're not using laundry sheets, you should. Earth Breeze, if you need an affiliate code to get a deal, let me know. And yeah, they're not paying me, but I would love for you to get some free stuff, and I don't mind free stuff either. But does that stuff magically appear? No. There is so much that happens when you're scorekeeping. And typically what's happening is you're scorekeeping about tasks because the relationship connection is not strong. And the reason the connection is not strong, oh, you're going to hate me and I can handle it, is because you're disconnected from yourself. You're disconnected from your purpose. Maybe you're disconnected from your values because you don't know what they are, or you're running should values. And you're sure as shit disconnected from your boundaries. And when you are disconnected from yourself, the bummer is you're going to take it out on other people, usually through soap or laundry detergent or permission slips. And let's be real crystal clear. The division of labor between men and women in heterosexual couples is insane because women are working the extra shift when they get home. They are working all of the silent stuff that has to get done behind the scenes, in addition to having full-time work, either as a caregiver or as someone who's working outside of the home. Historically speaking, that falls on women. And that's if you are in a position of privilege where you're not taking a bus to and from, where you're not at a laundromat, where you have an insane amount of privilege baked into your life. And that's in addition to systemic sexism and racism and classism, right? There's so many variables. The type of resentment that I am talking about here today truly has to do with the high achievers that I work with who are feeling like they are doing more than their quote unquote, listen, fair share. And what we have to remember is fair doesn't exist. We talk about equity versus fairness. Everybody's doing what they need, right? Everybody's getting what they need, which can vary. But when it comes to running a home, when it comes to running a company, when it comes to working in a group and in a team, it does matter that the division of labor, the division of responsibility is equitable. And so what's important with your resentment, I want you to pay attention to what happens in your body. Remember, we got to name it first. I'm curious in the comments how you recognize resentment. Like how do you know? Do you name it that? Right? How do you experience it in your body? I get hot because for me, resentment has everything to do with being pissed. And pissed is this face. And it's usually a rejection of reality. Like, I can't even believe this is happening again. And again, it's not my best look. But what I have learned is my resentment is not about Mike. My resentment is not about my kids. My resentment is for me. It is an indignant displeasure with the way I am behaving. And when I bring my emotions back to me, I also have power to change them. If I'm going to wait for Mike to anticipate everything that I'm pissed off about, if I'm going to wait for my kids to anticipate, they should know by now, just put your damn shoes away, right? Yes, I am going to have you unload the dishwasher again. And repeating myself makes me nuts. That's what we're working on right now. So I've gotten to the point in my own life where one of my boundaries is around repetition, because I was experiencing, here's a story for you. I was experiencing a ton of resentment about the ways that I felt I was overfunctioning. And if you've never heard of that word overfunctioning, write it in the comments and then go look up Codependent No More by Melody Beatty. So Codependent No More should be required reading for all high achievers. 100% of high achievers should read Codependent No More, along with The Dance of Anger, along with Empath as archetype. Codependent No More, The Dance of Anger, and Empath as archetype. I read all of them in conjunction with one another, and it was a really pivotal time in my life because I did not know I was overfunctioning. It had never occurred to me that this wasn't just how it was supposed to be. The women just do this. Apparently you're a 50s housewife right after you get married, except you're supposed to work full time and then like whittle toys for your natural children, right? Like the expectations are too high. We're going to talk about expectation in a coming episode as well. The definition floored me, and I'm excited to share that episode with you. So let me get back to my story after I drink. It's just coffee, not after I drink. So I was feeling resentful, and I knew I was resentful because I was short-tempered. Everything was on a short fuse. So pay attention to how do you recognize resentment? Because typically it doesn't come like right now. Typically it happens over a period of time. The time that you let it slip, where it's like, oh, I'll just put this away for them. Or the multitude of times where it's like, it's just easier if I do it. Mark my words, write this down. A symptom of resentment is it's easier if I do it. It's easier if I just take care of it. It'll go better if I do it. Don't resist the urge. Resist that urge. That is a hot button because you push it enough times and you're going to be resentful. However, you're going to be resentful at the wrong person. You're going to express it outwardly like I did, where it was like, am I the only one? That's a classic resentment phrase. Am I the only one who sees the toothpaste on the mirror? How many of you are the only one that sees the toothpaste on the mirror? Am I the only one that knows that we need Q-tips? Which I shouldn't be using anyway, I know. If you've got a Q-tip thing that's like one of those reusable ones, will you drop a link for me? Am I the only one that can, book them for their dentist appointments? Am I the only one? That's resentment talking. And it's usually this type of motion too, like this exasperation. Those are cues that resentment is showing up, and it's not about them. This is about your relationship with you. You have crossed your boundaries. And you might not know what they are. I'm doing a free challenge at the end of this month. It starts on Halloween, which is a Monday. And I'm doing a bonus, or it's a challenge. It's a boundaries challenge, big, bold boundaries challenge at the end of this month, starting October 31st. It's that whole last week of October into the first week of November. And the reason that we're doing this is, in my opinion, truly in my opinion, and in my experience, and with the experience with these high achievers that I've had the privilege of working with over the last 15 years in business, y'all, your boundaries suck. And it is the key to you having the life that you want, is having strong boundaries. And you write this down. We're going to talk about this at the end of the month. Your boundaries aren't for them. Your boundaries are for you. Your boundaries are one of the biggest pieces of self-care. And we take it a quantum level deeper in this community. We talk about self-reverence. Every time I say reverence, I'm just like, oh, that's so delicious at my heart space. Self-reverence lets you know my boundaries are for me. And when your boundaries are aligned with your purpose and your values, and if you don't know what those are, I can help you. Our mastermind is forming now too. If you want information about the mastermind, let me know. We walk you through, how do you identify your purpose? How do you identify your values? Where are they missing in the different areas of your life? And how do you take steps forward to rectify that? That's what our mastermind is doing, is putting you in the driver's seat of your relationship with yourself. Your boundaries are for you. And if you have crossed your boundaries, and if you didn't know that you had crossed it, resentment is going to lead you home. Resentment's going to go, hell no. And as long as you know what she sounds like, as long as you're like, okay, I recognize, am I the only one who sees as a boundary issue? If I recognize that hot feeling in the core of my throat where I want to yell at everyone, this is about me. It's very different when I can say to Mike, I'm feeling a certain kind of way about dinner. This is one we just had. I feel like it kind of creeped up on me and I've just taken it over again. And I don't like how that makes me feel about myself. And I really don't like how that makes me feel about you. What I know to be true is that having dinner is a keystone habit in our lives. Having nutritious meals and great food is a keystone to, and we talk about a keystone being that thing that makes everything else easier. The keystone, or what's the book? Essentialism, something, Greg McKeown, is that how you say it? Essentialism, talking about that the essence, that thing that's going to make it everything else easier or not needed. It's something like that, his definition. Food, grocery shopping, meal planning, having healthy snacks for our kiddos, having really beautiful food that we're not just like slamming in. That's a keystone to our core value of comprehensive health. And when I can communicate that way versus like, are you ever going to contribute? Are you ever going to make a meal? Which totally, by the way, negates all of the meals that he actually does make. Because if he's not doing it 100% the way I want, obviously, I'm gonna wipe the slate clean and profess that I do it all. Anyone else have the all or nothing thinking? Hello, my name is Heidi. I'm a black and white thinker at times. And what I know to be true is when I have the power and I have the insight to go, resentment has shown up. What I know to be true is that I have crossed my boundaries first. And I've opened the door for them to just continue to take advantage. And they are not doing it maliciously, but I have made up all sorts of stories about how ungrateful they are, how I'm the only one who does anything ever around here. No, just me. When I can come from that place where I have listened to my resentment. And here, let me walk you through exactly how I do it. Hot feeling, I'm pissed. I'm indignant. Am I the only one? Name it. Shit, I recognize this as resentment. Ugh, I hate this one. Okay, resentment. Okay, where do I feel you? Shoulders tight, face all wonky, hot, like cylindrically, is that a word? Hot. I'm gonna breathe fire on your ass, right? Pause and name it and claim it, right? Where do I feel it? I feel it here. I want to yell. Now I want to cry. Typically it's that type of combo. Usually I'm quick to tears, but if I've been holding that for a while, then I get pissed and then it's tears. I usually end up in tears. And that's sacred, so I don't fear that. But when I listen to resentment and I go, what is it, honey? Like, what do you want me to know? Recently it was like, I want to work more. I want to take this purpose deeper. I want to have more time for fun. I want to have more time to go out. And I've got this idea percolating and I need more energy for it. And I need more food in order to have the energy for this idea. And I want to have more fun. We had so much fun this weekend. We got back on campus. Mike and I saw a dramatic interpretation reading. It was really cool. We went to a parade, although I still have some of those panic feelings at a parade. Went to a homecoming game, right? We spent a ton of time outside. I went to a song circle. Once we addressed the food, once I let the resentment talk to me, it was like, I want support. I want us to agree on how we're doing meals so that I can bring this idea to life, which is what you're going to see at the end of this month. And it's a free training. It's a free challenge. And we're having more fun. We're in our community, that core desire of community and collaboration. And if we're going to live in this town, let's live in this town. Let's contribute to this town. Let's bring money and dollars into this town. Go to the co-op in Foxton. Shout out to Foxton, right? Like, support our community. When you start to let resentment talk to you, and you understand the values that are being revealed, and you understand the actions that animate your values, oh man, you'll gladly have these conversations. And what it sounds like at the beginning is that it's like, I'm pissed off because I'm doing more, and that's not fair. When you dig down and you go, man, my value of community and fun and contribution and purpose is being stepped on by me, and I will no longer do that. And you have these really skilled, and they are skills, and I will teach you that inside the mastermind, these skilled conversations. How do I talk to my people when the listen shows up and the listen is like, you got to do something about this? What do I do then? I listened to it, I felt it, I know what I'm supposed to do, but how do I talk to my people? Let me help you with that. We do that inside the mastermind. It matters for you to no longer cross your own boundaries. It matters for you, listen to me, to no longer cross your own boundaries. This is not about them. It may be highlighted in your relationship with them, but the feeling that you have is being mirrored back to you. What are you going to do with it? That's the real question. Are you going to listen to it, or are you going to go shopping? Are you going to have the difficult conversation first and foremost with yourself, and then with your partner, then with your boss, especially if you're doing more than your share at work, with your kids? What value is being revealed, right? What's your purpose? And is you being pissed off about laundry keeping you from your purpose? Probably. We don't have a lot of time, friends. So I'm reading this book. I got it at Foxton this weekend. It's like a witchery book. Judge me, it's fine. But it talks about, at the very beginning, they're talking about different celebrations, and it's talking about different customs and how, there are hybrid traditions, Christian traditions, pagan traditions, Wiccan traditions, and they're talking about the beauty of how nature is, right? Where there's 360 days to a year, and 365 days in a year, and 360 degrees, right? The earth is turning, like we're in an orbit, right? And what I have loved about this is correlating degrees with days. So it's almost a match, right? 365 and 360. If you move in 1 degree increments every single day. This winds us back to the beginning where it's like those micro actions, those compounded actions matter. If we move 1 degree towards ourself over the course of a year, you can completely turn your life around. And I like to think of the degrees of a labyrinth. So we're going on retreat in a couple of weeks. I can't wait. Congratulations to those of you that are joining us. Like, I'm all geeked out. Your presents came yesterday. I'm very excited. And we walk a labyrinth when we're there. And when you think about walking a labyrinth as one stone, and if you take 1 step every single day towards the middle, 1 degree shifts is the difference between ice and snow. 1 degree shifts is the difference of latitude and longitude of a storm hitting. And we're witnessing that right now, right? 1 degree shifts. And if you are going to take 1 degree shift, let it be towards yourself. Your relationship with yourself infuses everything else. 100% of it. The more you can learn about yourself, the more you can make peace with yourself, the more you can forgive and have compassion and get support. Whoever gets the most support wins, as far as I'm concerned, right? The more you can take assessments, right? Strengths finders, the Kolbe. If you want to know your Kolbe, reach out to me. I can help you with that. Your Enneagram. The more self-awareness you have, right? The more empowered you are, the more you know your purpose, the more you are crystal about your values and desires. Your actions are what is going to bridge the metaphysical, like all of the ideas, with your world, with your physical world. 1 degree shifts every day changes your life. Every day. I'm going to go live in my Facebook page later today and talk to you about how putting together 30 degrees of no television has changed my life. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to do that later this afternoon after some coaching sessions. But if you can't catch it live, no problem. Catch the replay. I'm going to share with you what happened when I gave up TV for 30 days. Today's day 30. So what did you learn today? What are your main takeaways? What's sacred resentment teaching you? Where do your boundaries, what category do your boundaries need to be assessed? It's the perfect time for assessment, right? As you need support, let me know. And we are going to be opening up registration for that free challenge. You should have registration opportunity by Monday, where you can get on the trainings. You'll get all of the emails and the reminders. This boundaries challenge, if you do the work, not if you watch it and go, oh yeah, that totally makes sense in my head. Don't be that girl or that guy or that human, right? If you do the work. And this is a compilation of the last 15 years. This is the best training that I have ever done. And I should be charging for it. I should be. I will eventually. So come and take full advantage. I'm not crossing a boundary on this one. I want you to have it. I'm going to teach it live every day. And you'll be able to register for that. If you can't wait, if you're like, it's dire. If you're in panic mode, if you're like, I can't wait 1 more second, come and work with me now. We can get you all loved up before the holidays, because let's face it, the boundaries that get breached at the holiday season is a nightmare from hell. And if you want to avoid that this year, let's start now. Okay. I'll share all the details. Just DM me help. Okay. All right, my friends, I will see you next week. And we're going to just continue this conversation about when you lead with, and stay tuned for our next topic. Okay. All right. I will see you very soon. Be well. Be nice to yourselves.